Hey, how you doing today? It's been a couple days since I made a video, and last time I did one, I wasn't happy with it, but I posted it anyway because I wanted you to see that uh, everything isn't perfect. So, similar to today, but today I did a garden. This is a reference. The reference photo I used for this is a garden in Gainesville. If you're familiar with the University of Florida, that's where it is. Actually, it's in Kanapaha Gardens, and I took the photo several years ago, but I thought I would do a watercolor. It's kind of a watercolor mixed media with gouache. So, but primarily I used the pan watercolors from Winsor Newton. See if I can get that on there and make it focused. Can you see that? Do a name, Winsor Newton. Hope I have it right. It's shaking, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, it's Winsor Newton pan colors. And pan colors are the dry, hard ones that you, whoops, try to focus on. Try to get it wet. Try to get it wet. That you get wet. You add water to your brush. If you're not familiar with pan colors, I love those pan colors. I love them. I love them. I love them. Now, I'm not the best watercolorist out there, and so if I was, I probably wouldn't need to fix things, but I do need to fix things now and then. So I used some gouache, and the gouache I used is this from Master's Touch. These are the paints I used for that, and that's basically all I used that for. Was some of the areas I touched up in the white here, and some of the flowers that were just not bright enough. I thought they could be brighter, so I touched them up with the gouache. Okay, that's enough said about that. By the way, it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Let me turn this off and turn on the video I made as I painted this. Okay, happy Valentine's Day. Yes, it is the day of love. Valentine's Day. All right, so today I'm not doing a Valentine's painting. I am doing a garden. I think the garden, I'm using a reference photo that I took at a garden, and I think the garden was Kanapaha Gardens up in Gainesville, Florida, not too far from where I live. So, well, 40 miles or so. So I'm just going to start, and my idea is to keep it like bright, like in the distance, and in the light coming through, and then the different trees and the different elements of the garden that get brighter and brighter as we get closer. No, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. I want it to be bright in the distance. I want the bright to be coming through, and the dark, or the deeper tones here in the foreground. Does that make sense? Did I stumble over my words a little too much to make it confusing? I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully you guys have been okay. Last picture I did, I was not happy with, and I posted it anyway because I think I'm not trying to be the next Bob Ross. I'm not trying to be the next great art teacher. I am not. I respect and admire teachers. I don't know how to teach. However, I thought it would be fun to do this channel when I first had the idea to do this channel as a way to kind of just share. I think most of the learning I've done from art has been from doing. I'll say that. I think most of it is simply by doing it. I've done a lot of drawing, I've done a lot of painting, and I've done very little sculpting. I did a little bit with clay, but that's about it. I've never done any real carving. And the other art forms like wood burning, I probably could say I dabbled in that as a kid when you had a wood burning set for Christmas or something like that. I probably tried to do something that would impress people and probably didn't impress anybody, but that's probably what I did. But otherwise, I mean, as far as what I have done, it's painting, and it's drawing, and I've done a lot of digital art also. Digital art is you can do fine art with digital art. I've done plenty myself, but I really think digital art in this day and age is better as a way to illustrate things, like children's books, for example, is what I'm doing right now, and what I've done for the past couple of years. It's good for children's books because you end up being able to change things, if that makes sense. And when you can change things, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by my own work here. But when you can change things like on the fly like you can with digital, it makes it so much better, because a children's book typically has at least 20, I think it's 20, 32, at least 32 pages, I think. And so a full page spread, a 2-page spread is 16 illustrations. And so that's kind of why I say that. You can go back and correct things and change things. And now, in the case of the one I'm working on right now, it's a children's book that Robin and I are working on together. And so there's no, like, we are the boss. We are the ones in charge. And so those are the ones that, we are the ones who make the decisions. Gosh, I'm having a hard time talking and painting for some reason. Just trying to create that. I'm not sure why this paper keeps popping up. It shouldn't do that. This is good paper. But anyway, so yeah, so painting, digital painting, and everything. There's a place for everything. One of the things I want to say about digital painting, by the way, digital painting, if you see any other paintings that I've done on my channel here, that was done on the iPad with the Procreate, it's digital painting, but the word digital confuses people who don't know anything about it. They think it means the computer did it all. And any of you who've done it, and I'm guessing most of you are in the same boat I'm in, it's frustrating when people think that the computer did something for you, and you know that that's not true. But it's like you're trying to defend your art, you're trying to defend your abilities and all that. And I know a little bit about AI, and it looks like with AI you kind of can have the computer do stuff for you. It looks like it. So anytime somebody sees digital, they automatically think nowadays, well, that's AI. That's something somebody's computer did. That's not something an artist actually did. And so, in a way, the good news about that is that it enables us who are doing traditional art like this to be able to say, oh, you actually painted that. Well, yes, we did, or I did. Yes, I did. So I don't know. So it's an ego thing, I guess. But, all right, trying to see if I can get this to look like a distant area back here. I'm gonna keep this bright. Let's keep some things in the back. All right, now let's take some of these areas here. We're gonna spread some more of that water here and try to get a very, very light sky tone here. Keep it blue, light, very, very light blue. And to make it light, I'm using water and not white paint, although I have done that too. I'm just trying to keep it very light, and I'll have to let it dry before I can actually paint the trees over it. So way too dark right there. I have to spread that out. That's way too dark. Just spread it out. Every time I do a painting, I always think they look ugly in the beginning. They always do. They never look good. But then they start to come together by some magic. Unless, of course, you make a big mistake, which is what I did last time. I think on the last one, if you see it, I made the girl's head too big, I think. I think I made her hat way too big. All right, so I'm not going to worry about this too much because it's kind of dark. But the reason I'm not going to worry about it is because I'm kind of using that as a backdrop for the tree that's going to be there. Even though the tree itself won't be blue, I don't think. Who knows? Maybe it will end up being blue. In fact, that's not a bad idea. So the trees will be here, and the light's coming through there. I want to make sure we keep it. Now, if I do mess up to the point where I need some more light and I didn't do my job of keeping the white paper as the white, then I will go ahead and use gouache to correct the mistake. I was actually tempted to correct the mistake in the last picture with the girl's head. I was thinking I could fix it, and I probably could. I, however, wanted to keep the video as it was because, like I started to say, I think I didn't finish my thought earlier. My thought was to show the mistakes, show the work that doesn't quite make it, doesn't quite make the grade, and that way, especially if you're young, I don't want anybody to think that everybody, even no matter what age you are, no matter how experienced you are, I don't want somebody to think that there's going to be a time when everything you do is perfect. It's not. If you watch the football games, we watched the Super Bowl the other day. All these guys are super talented at football, and and there's always mistakes. Even when you're that professional, when you have that much invested into the craft that you've invested your life in, whether it's a sport or an art or anything else, really. If you've invested your life in it, you're probably very, very good at it, and you probably have a lot of good advice for anybody who's trying to pursue that same thing. But at the same time, everything isn't perfect. That's just the way it is. That's the way life is, right? Okay. Now you see what I didn't even know I was going to do that, but I think that worked out okay. Just to kind of make that blue. All right, let me try and get some of this dark here. I'm going to keep some light coming through there. See some light across the back and some light coming from there. And the same thing over here. Just try to get it. This is really a first layer with the intent of it drying. Go ahead and add some green now, because it's going to have some green in it eventually anyway. Some dark green and some light green. By the way, the other day somebody was using red as the only color. I was watching a video, and they're using red as the only color in the whole painting, and which is a cool idea. It's a cool concept to just use one color for the whole painting. And they were asking if the viewer thought, now it was a recording, so you couldn't really answer them, but they're asking if you would agree that maybe you could add black to it, even though you've committed to making it all out of red in this case. And my thought was that black and red don't usually work. It usually becomes, I mean, as complementary colors of each other, yes. But I mean, as far as mixing black and red, it usually looks muddy. You know, unless you're shooting for a brown, I guess you could do that. But I was thinking what I would have done is I would have used green to darken the red, or just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. And I would have used white, of course, to lighten it, and maybe even some yellow to add some contrast to the red. Just some thoughts I had on that subject. Okay. See, I'm trying to add the dark areas here. And make some the branches and the leaves of the trees. All right, let me add some of this yellow here. I want yellow for the middle because I wanted to keep it almost white. Maybe a hint of green in there. Keep it yellow. And keep it watercolor-ish too. That's one of the it's easy to fall into the idea that you're going to paint using watercolor and make it almost like you're using acrylic or gouache. There we go. Starting to have a little bit of that look to it. Go ahead and add some green here. I want to make some room over here for some flowers that are coming up from the garden. Right in here, in this area here. Try to keep that in mind. All right, so let's get some of this orange in here. Keep it light. Yeah, so I don't really have any Valentine's Day plans. I don't know if you do. There's an interesting story in the news about people on Valentine's Day. There's quite a few kind of inventive things. I think it was Pizza Hut that was offering a good buy pie, a pizza for those breaking up with somebody. That would be kind of sad. And then there was, I think there was one restaurant offering dumplings for free if you could give them a good story of how you were dumped. Oh my gosh. Again, another sad one, right? And so yeah, it's fun stories. Yeah, you have to tell them how you were dumped and Then you get free dumplings or something. I can't remember which restaurant it was. I think it was a Chinese restaurant. Pang, does it sound right? Pang? I think that was the name of it. Pang something. I'm probably going to need to let this dry a lot over here before I really start adding stuff to it. But if I can get the background darker, I think that'll be half the battle here. This is a technique just using the ends of the bristles to create the illusion of these end of the trees, the leaves that stick out just a little bit. Little by little, as it dries, it's easier to add the pieces down here that are dark. Usually the bottoms of the trees have a lot of dark depth to them, a lot of darkness.